Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. At first, it may seem that our first story is a ghost story. We'll tell you more right after a short pause. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I am not hallucinating my treatment. I think and hope this fits here as it relates to someone else, although I was involved, and they did work there. Some years ago, I had a short outpatient procedure which caused me to have a serious infection. I was rushed back to the hospital by ambulance and spent a total of 10 days there with something verging on sepsis. I spent the first 24 hours in a clinical decision unit, not the nicest of places, but I was running a serious temperature and didn't notice much. Rules and targets meant that within 24 hours I had to be discharged or moved to a ward. After 23 and a half hours, I was on a ward. It was a late evening. I was fixed up with a cannula and a drip, antibiotics, which in the end didn't work, and I settled down to sleep. I was reasonably comfortable and, although ill, was feeling a bit more normal. I was woken up at about 3 a.m. by the patient in the next bed having an incident, which I'll gloss over for reasons of delicacy. I looked around to find a large, fresh blood stain on my sheets. In my rather restless sleep, I'd ripped out my cannula. I pressed the call button. A very nice young guy arrived. The nursing station was in sight from my bed, and there was a group of 4 or 5 people there, including the guy who came over, all dressed in black trousers and high-necked black tunics. In addition to 2 nurses who I recognized from earlier. He very efficiently and painlessly reinserted the cannula and cleaned me up. I went back to sleep. He didn't change the sheet, but covered it up to save a major disturbance at that time of night. Next morning after breakfast, 2 nurses came round to change sheets for everyone. Mine were a mess, so I explained what had happened. They looked very wary and said there were no male nurses on the ward. I explained that the guy was in a black jacket. They looked at me strangely and said there were no workers in black uniforms. I insisted that I had been treated by the person I had described, but they wouldn't have it. Eventually, in sweet, calming voices, they started to agree with everything I said. Obviously, they were humoring me. They went on with their work. A bit later, I saw them discussing something with the charge nurse with the occasional glance in my direction. I was now getting worried and beginning to doubt myself. Then one of them came back over, beaming uncomfortably. I thought, this is it. She then, rather hesitantly, explained that a party of student doctors had been touring night shifts the previous night. Unknown to her or her colleagues, they had a new design of uniform, in black. I was sane after all. And he did work there. And our second story. Entitled dad threatens to beat me up because I charged his daughter for gas on a rental car. I worked at a national rental car chain where I have the best stories. Before working there, I thought the industry was just going to be full of business guys and vacationers, so I really wouldn't have to deal with much crap. Boy, was I young and dumb. This particular branch was hit or miss. Some days we'd be crazy busy, others we'd be so slow. We'd take out for oil changes just for the hell of it to give us something to do. On one particular day, both my manager and assistant manager asked if they could go grab food for all of us and if I could man the shop. Everyone there was super chill, even the managers, so there was just a lot of chilling around. I, of course, agree and chill and look at my phone when the office phone rings. It's some older gentleman who asked for me specifically. Speaking, I say. Our conversation goes a little something like this. Entitled dad. Is this OP? Me. Yeah, how can I help? ED, my daughter just returned a rental car at your location, and I see a $25 fuel charge on there that shouldn't be. I'm expecting a refund right now, or I'll be giving corporate a call and maybe you'll listen to them. Me, still keeping my cool. Not a problem, sir. Let me check your file to verify that you didn't prepay for the fuel. Let me put you on a quick hold. ED starts screaming something along the lines of, don't put me on hold. No one puts me on hold. Beep, goes on hold anyway. Checking his file. Notes clearly say that fuel was declined and the customer signed a line stating that they agree to a $25 refueling fee if they don't return it with the amount of fuel that it was sent out with. Me. Hi, sir. I've reviewed your file, and unfortunately, I'm not able to issue a refund because your daughter agreed to pay the fuel charge if the vehicle wasn't returned at the level we sent it out at. Apologies for the inconvenience, but we do make this clear to our customers since this is a common but understandable source of confusion. Had this guy started the convo off by not being a piece of crap, I would have easily given him his refund. But I refuse to let entitled mofos win. ED, what the F? Oh, I see. You just saw a young girl walk into your rental car place and you thought that you could scam her. How does it feel robbing a young girl of $25? I'll bet you have the money in your pocket right now. Me, sir, unfortunately, that is our policy. We do not scam our customers and clearly indicate what you'll be paying for before the rental. We also make sure to tell you how to avoid the fees. In this case, our advice was not followed, so we will not be able to process a refund for you. ED, let me talk to a manager, now. Me, sorry sir, they're not in the office right now, but I'll tell you, they'll give you the same answer. They should be back in about 20 or 30 minutes if you want to call back then. Again, super chill manager, so I knew I had nothing to worry about, and that they'd take my side. ED, WTF, no! Some of us have things to do today. I don't want to spend my day at some rental car place. You guys are scumbags. You know what? I'm coming down there right now, and I'm going to have a little talk with you face to face. You're not going to be so tough when I come down. Me, unfortunately, all I could do was audibly laugh at this guy, which only made it worse. Me, I'm looking forward to it, sir. ED, you just think you're so tough, don't you? You have no idea the people in high places that I know in this state. I now know your first and last name, buddy. I wouldn't be laughing. Me, sir, if you have a problem with me, I invite you to come down and resolve it in person. I'll be here until 6 this evening. ED, I'm coming right now, buddy. You think I'm not serious? Me, okay then, see you soon. Beep, I hang up. About 20 minutes later, my manager gets back and I tell him what happened. My manager burst out laughing and just said, "Can we hear?" We went back and listened to the recording and both my manager and assistant were just dying laughing. Were you just threatened over $25? Apparently, I joked. We all shared a good laugh and honestly forgot about it for the rest of the afternoon until I saw a car pull up and see a familiar girl get out of the car with what looked like her mom. Guess who? It was Edie's daughter and her mom. I peered into the car to see Edie pouting in the passenger seat. He looked like a child who was told no for the first time. The best part is he threatened me and wouldn't even get out of the car to face me himself. He sends his wife and daughter to do his dirty work. This should give you some indication about the type of guy we're dealing with here. The entitled mom walks in with the entitled daughter and starts screaming, berating my assistant manager. EM, your employee OP needs to be fired. He scammed my daughter out of money and we want it back. Assistant manager, ma'am, OP already explained to you why we can't do that. I'll give you two choices. You can leave now on your own or I can call the police and they can tell you to leave. Up to you. EM, okay then, F you. We're never using this rental place again. I can't wait until we call corporate and tell them all about this little incident. She furiously leaves the shop and goes back to her car. This is where the most amazing thing happened and made me believe in karma. She was so angry and flustered as she was backing out that she slammed into the back of my assistant manager's car, smashing her bumper. Easily a total loss for a car of that age and value. My assistant manager runs out to inspect the damage, only to find nothing on his car, not even a single scratch. EM and Edie and their daughter all had to wait for a tow truck to arrive in our parking lot, and it was amazing to watch the look on their faces while they dealt with the side effects of their crappiness. And if that wasn't enough, want to know what the best part was? 2 weeks later, I get a call from ED asking if we had any rental cars available. It was hilarious how he tried to act as if nothing had happened and returned after he vowed he wouldn't. He actually rented fairly regularly after that during my time there, and we never had another issue with him. He was even pleasant on some occasions. This experience must have been humbling for him. Pretty hilarious story. Well done. Seriously, what's wrong with people? Not just the threatening, but also the complete lack of common sense on the fuel part. And our last story. EM demands my deaf employee apologize for ignoring her. For reference, I've spent 15 years of my life being a restaurant general manager. I've got some crazy stories. Anyways, I was reminiscing lately and this story came up. EM, entitled mom, Kate, deaf employee. It was Mother's Day, one of the busiest days at my restaurant, quick service, self-seating, casual dining. EM already ordered, had her buzzer, and was waiting for a table to open. She sees another family get up and immediately runs to the dirty table to reserve it. No big deal, right? Just need to bus it. EM sees Kate and begins yelling at her from behind, so Kate doesn't notice anything at all. EM continues to berate and follow Kate. Now, I understand that there's no sign saying my employee was deaf, but I believe a normal person would realize that something was off after getting no acknowledgement at all. I noticed something going on and walked over to the already irate EM and asked if I could help. EM goes off about Kate ignoring her request to clean off the table and help her family sit down. I apologized to EM and explained that my employee didn't respond to her shouts because she's deaf and genuinely had no idea anyone was trying to communicate with her. I signaled one of my bussers to come clear the table while I continued speaking with EM. This is when EM accused me of lying about Kate. She demanded to know why I would hire someone who couldn't respond to her shouts and demands. I was getting very annoyed at this point. I explained that I didn't need to justify any of my hiring decisions and that I 100% stood behind my team. EM began demanding that I fire Kate. EM said that there was no use for a deaf person to work in a restaurant. This got me fuming. At this point, her table had been bussed, her kids were sitting looking quite embarrassed, and her buzzer was going off informing her that her food was ready for pickup at the counter. To me, there was no reason to continue with EM, especially on such a busy day. I asked if she needed help picking up her food, and if not, I wished her a good meal and excused myself. EM was not done with my team. She again saw Kate restocking some items and decided to prove me wrong. EM approached Kate and again began berating her using very offensive language. When Kate turned to face EM and realized she was being yelled at, Kate was frightened and confused. I never allow my employees to be harassed, and this was especially evil. I immediately had my expo counter pack the woman's order to go, handed it to the woman, and told her to leave. EM called me a C-word and told me she was going to contact corporate and have me and Kate fired. Yeah, okay. Like I never heard that before. I escorted EM and her poor children to the door and told EM she was not welcome back in my restaurant. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.